So we're here with Benny Elder. Now, Benny, welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be here.
Now, you recently just released your debut album and you're having your launch there in Brisbane in April. I've got to ask, how are you feeling?
I'm excited. Yeah, it's there's a little bit of a break between the album release and the launch to hopefully generate a little bit of interest. And yeah, I can't wait to play the whole album live for everyone at West End on April the 6th.
And how many years in the making has the album been?
Um, I'd say, well, one of the songs 17 was the first song I wrote, so I think that must be 4 or 5 years ago now. So I suppose, yeah, it's a pool of songs that range 4 or 5 years, some of which I probably wrote 6 months ago. So yeah, pretty long period of time.
So the first track I want to talk about today is Break Free. Can you tell
Hmm.
us about this track?
Yeah, so it's a I guess it's about feeling socially excluded. It's a um I guess based on an experience that I had socially a few years ago and just feeling left out and not really like I fit in. And yeah, it's sort of capturing that feeling and hopefully inspiring other people to not worry so much about fitting in and being normal and all these things that society tells you is the norm.
And when did your music journey begin?
I didn't pick up a guitar and start singing that long ago. Actually, I believe I started on my I think it was my 22nd or my 23rd birthday. Decided I wanted to learn guitar, and from there, a few years later, I wanted to sing. Doing the two wasn't that easy at the start. I'll admit that. It took a fair bit of practice, and yeah, from there, I started writing. Um, yeah, probably around when I was 25 or 26. I'm now 30.
And who did you grow up listening to?
A very wide range of artists, everything from Bob Dylan to Metallica to Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and modern artists like Passenger and Ed Sheeran, Luke Combs. It's fairly diverse, really, I guess.
So would you say that your household was a musical household when you were growing up?
Not particularly. No, they enjoy listening to music like most people, I suppose, but not playing instruments. No.
Longing for Change is another track on your album. What's this track about?
Yeah, longing for change. I believe that originated when I just started releasing music and realizing that I would love to be a musician for a living. Um, and it was sort of at a point which I had I think when I initially started releasing music, I thought it might be easier or more achievable in a quicker period of time to become a full-time musician. And I think Longing for Change was written when I realized that it's a very long journey in music and it's very competitive and it can really take over your life and it almost needs to a little bit to sort of to make a living out of it and just the complications that arise from all those sorts of thoughts processes.
You're originally from Hobart. You're now based in Brisbane. Why the move from Hobart?
Uh, well, I was born in Hobart, but I have been in Brisbane since I was 15, I believe. Um, my family came here, so I grew up a little bit in Melbourne and Newcastle and Brisbane. But yeah, we moved here when I was 15, so I've been here since then.
What artists would you say have inspired you the most?
I think it's changed over the course of my writing, but initially I loved fingerstyle, slower, folky kind of music. Well, that was the way I wrote. So it was I think Passenger and Ed Sheeran, Bob Dylan really had a huge influence as that was kind of the stuff I was listening to. And as I sort of progressed in my writing and diversifying music like John Mayer and Luke Combs and Chris Stapleton and a little bit more soft rock, country rock kind of stuff.
Now, Coffee Don't Taste the Same also has the video clip that goes with it. What's this track about?
Um, yeah, Coffee Don't Taste the Same is, I guess, about life losing its flavor a little bit and being in a bit of a rut in life and just struggling to see. the positives and just being, yeah, a little bit depressed, I suppose.
Can you tell us about the time when you first realized that you could sing?
Um, I guess if you ask my mum that, she'd give you a different answer, but mothers always will. She'd probably say I could sing when I was 3. But I think I realized when I started playing guitar that my tone was okay, um, and I guess the pitching and uh, the technicalities of singing came later with practice. But I think it was when I started just playing guitar, I realized my tone was um, was nice naturally, and that I had something to work with. But the rest of the technicalities, singing, is really just came with effort and work. No one really has that. I think you can't
And can
just.
you, yeah, and can you remember what the first song was that you sung?
I do. I remember the first song I ever played. It was "Let Her Go" by Passenger. It was the first song I tried to play on acoustic guitar, and it was the first song I learned as a vocalist too.
And I guess at what stage did the songwriting begin to happen for you?
Yeah, I think that was as soon as I could pretty much sing and play at the same time. That was when I started writing. And at the start, I've got early recordings of even 17, which are slightly embarrassing. When I remember I was looking at those videos the other day, just listening to that and watching that and realizing how far I really have come in that time. And I probably thought I was great then, but it's definitely improved a lot. Um, so I think I must have been about 25, 26 when I started really writing. So
Cinderella
about five
Girl
years
is
ago.
another one of those tracks on your album. What is this track all about?
I guess it's a fairly personal one. It has a bit of a dual meaning. It's one a bit of a um, homage to a family member that passed away, for one, and wanting to and speak to her and talk about her life, and two, for mental health in general and how it affects people's lives.
So let's talk about the songwriting process. A lot of artists have special places that they go to. How does the writing process work for Benny?
Yeah, I definitely have headspaces which I've realized now usually my best work comes from, and it's usually sadness or struggles with life or frustration or strong emotions like that. Happiness can be a tool, but I sometimes find that being happy, you don't necessarily reach for the guitar because you're usually doing things with friends or family with people, so you don't really have access to it. So I think those feelings of loneliness and emptiness and sadness really stem uh, songs for me and for a lot of artists.
So the songwriting process would be, I guess, a therapeutic process for you. It's about how you, I guess, process what is happening in your life at the time and how you deal with it.
Exactly, yeah. There are occasions there are songs that I've written which are other people's stories, so I can be inspired just by talking to other people and wanting to write that down. But I'd say 90% of the time, it's from yeah, just wanting to talk about my life and, as you say, a therapeutic kind of process.
And is it harder to write your own story as opposed to someone else's?
No, I think they're both pretty. I both say they're both the same. I guess it may come a little bit more easily writing about your own story because you know exactly how you feel. Um, and a couple of times I've written songs about other people, and I've asked little details after I sort of wrote the base of the song just to make sure I'd gotten some things right. Didn't want to, for them to feel like I'd made stuff up. So it's probably a little bit easier for your own story.
Now, Carry Me Home is a track about what?
Um, yeah, it's about the safety and security net of childhood, I suppose, and and like the feeling that we a lot of us have as an adult of in our I guess in our teenager years or early 20s, whenever it is, we move out of home and sort of out of that safety net, um, and realizing the world is a big scary place, and you can easily get a little bit lost. And Carry Me Home is about wanting to come back to that sense of safety and security that you have as a child, a little bit of ignorance to the outside world, I suppose.
So, what happens when you realize a song of yours has been picked up by the ABC?
Um, I'm very happy, of course. I'm stoked that they are playing some of my songs now. Like any radio, if someone wants to talk to me like yourself or play my songs, I'm over the moon. So it doesn't really matter who it is or what station.
Yeah, she's still blowing in the wind.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit of a homage to one of Bob Dylan's songs for one, the "Blowing in the Wind." So it's nothing about really that song, and the song structure is completely different. But it's just one of my favorite songs. So I wanted to use a similar phrase um, to sort of pay a bit of homage to him and that song. But yeah, it's I guess it's sort of a love song ish. It's about feeling like you're never going to find the one, and the four verses are the four loves that I've had in my life. So it's not just about one person, but the four different people that I've been in love with, and the chorus is expressing that I feel like I'm never going to find the person that you're going to settle with and be with forever.
When you're putting together a body of work like this, how hard is it to choose the tracks to put on that debut album?
Extremely difficult because it's very hard to be objective about your own music. What you think, what you love, may not necessarily be what other people connect with, and um, not that that necessarily matters. The artist can release whatever they want, but I think for me, it's I do try and choose songs that I think people can relate to, because that's my passion in music, is touching people and feeling that emotional share, of sharing of feelings and like of similar feelings. So the body of work was really about choosing those songs that I thought would connect in a similar kind of vein.
17 is another one of those tracks that, well, for me, really makes me think. Can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so that's the one I was mentioning, that the first song I ever wrote, and it's actually about a friend of mine who moved from New Zealand to Australia, and I think that's what started my songwriting process. Now that I realize you asked me this before, but you've just jogged my memory on something, and when she told me that story, it is really the first time that I ever really wanted to write a song, because I just felt this strong emotion to capture her story and her feeling, and that kind of snowballed into doing my own stuff. But yeah, it was about her moving from New Zealand to Australia and the challenges that she had, and wanting to escape sort of her little world and see the rest of the world, and and not be bound by restrictions that adults are often bound by.
You're gigging a lot around Brisbane. You might get asked this question a lot, but any plans on interstate?
Not at this stage. I mean, I would love to, when the opportunity arises. I haven't planned um, any of my own shows yet interstate, but I do plan. I guess after a period of time, after the debut album launch at West End, I am looking at doing a little tour around Australia and playing at some of the big cities, I think.
It don't matter. What's this one all about?
Jokingly, I like to tell people it's the Forrest Gump song, because it's kind of, I realized after I wrote it, it's kind of sounds like from Forrest's perspective how he's always waiting for Jenny to come back.
Yes.
And it's a kind of a similar theme, but yeah, it's funny that it's kind of similar to that story. It's a feeling of, I guess, being in love and following your partner anywhere and doing whatever they want, being there for them, regardless of whether they want to travel across the world and work overseas and it doesn't align with you necessarily. And it's really that feeling of this prioritizing a person over anything.
Now, Benny, the titles of your track is something that all of our listeners can relate to. When you're writing a track, how hard is it to put that title to that track?
It's not usually that hard, actually. It's there are certain songs in which I have to think about what the right words are, but I think I often, the way I write choruses, there'll often be like a line at the end of the chorus which sort of encapsulates the feeling of the song. Um, and I guess it's kind of like a country style of writing. Like Luke Combs, Chris Stapleton. This is like a method that I often find that they use too. So I think that last line of the chorus is often the name of my song. Yeah, it's often just the overarching theme. It's not always the last line of the chorus, but it usually just stands out as the theme of the song.
Forever and always.
Yeah, so another love one, but actually a love song, not just feeling of loneliness. Forever and always is about being um, infatuated and so in love that you want to spend every second of every day with that person and share life with them.
Now, when I listen to your music, Benny, you have an incredible vocal tone. And I'm hearing vocal tones similar to that of Aaron Neville and Tracy Chapman combined together. Has anyone ever told you this before?
No, but I don't know Aaron Neville. I'll have a listen after this. But Tracy Chapman, I love her tone. She's one of my favorite singers. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm very stoked with that.
So, Aaron Neville is most probably best known for his duet with Linda Ronstadt, Don't Know
Mm-hmm.
Much. So, go and check it out, particularly in the first few bars. Yeah, I can hear your vocal tone.
Wow. Okay, great. So do you say don't know much?
Yes. Ramblin' Man.
Yeah. Rambling Man is kind of the opposite to Forever and Always, I suppose. And it might sound contradictory putting them on the same album, but I guess it shows the journey I've had over about 4 or 5 years. Um, and Rambling Man's really about not wanting to settle down and struggling to commit.
So, who is that person that keeps you honest as an artist?
Ooh. Um, I guess in terms of my songwriting, friends, family, and parents, um, people that are close to you are usually your harshest critics because they know you. And so I think if anything ever stands out to them or they think something's a bit odd, they'll let me know, which is great. And I'll often run my lyrics by a few people before I record. Um, Usually that's my mum and dad, just to check that the story's consistent, it makes sense, and it's a consistent theme with the rest of my songs.
Yeah, it's a good thing because quite often ourselves can be the worst critics of ourselves.
Yeah, we can, and it's a roller coaster when you have a head that's all over the place. One day you think something's great, the next day you think it's horrible, and one day you have a certain feeling about a situation, the next day it might be completely turned and opposite. So I think you do have to be careful and mindful of those things. That if you're a pretty emotional person, your feelings on a subject can change quite dramatically, and
Yeah,
I think it's quite important with songwriting to keep it consistent.
yeah, it certainly is. Spring of 21.
Yeah, so that's I'll get a little bit more personal than I'd usually like to, but essentially it's about the same person as Forever and Always, and when it ended. So Spring of 21 is a bit of a breakup song from that person that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with.
So, what do you hope that people will get from your debut album?
I think the main messages that I'd like to convey or for people to feel is the strength of emotion in my songwriting, and the sort of a ballady style, but also the diversity in styles in genres and songs. And I I really don't want to restrict myself to doing a certain genre or a certain style. But I think there is a certain way that I sing or write that will remain the same, and you'll always know it's my stuff. But I'd like to be able to diversify in terms of the genre and style of song.
And the final track for us to chat about on your debut album for now and until then is I Don't Know.
Yeah, so I Don't Know, I suppose, is again a little bit like Coffee Don't Taste the Same. It's about life losing its flavor and not really knowing, but a little bit different in that it's I guess it's about acknowledging that you're not really sure where you're going, what you want to do with your life, but you can control your day to day, and living with a little bit of freedom is really is the key to enjoying and getting fulfillment from life, I think, because you don't really know where your life's going to go, or the direction that you're going to go, or what you're going to decide to do next year or tomorrow.
So on that note, what's next for Benny Elder after the launch of the album?
So I have started working on the second album already.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've got, I think, about half of it done already. So, because it takes quite a long time to produce songs and get in the studio and mix them, master them, and get a finished product. I started on the second album a little while ago, and I do have a plan also to release an acoustic album of this first one for now and until then. So, in a couple of months, I'll release the whole album acoustic, as I think it provides interesting alternate versions of each of the songs. And after that, I'll start releasing singles later this year for the second album.
So I guess what's next for you is just go, go, go.
Yeah, I've got a lot of songs that I want to get out, I want to record, I want to share with people, and yeah, there's so much I've written over the last few years that I just feel compelled and urged to record and get out there.
All right, Benny, we've got to that time of the interview for our fast 10 in 60 seconds. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. Last book you read?
I think it was The Intelligent Investor.
Coffee or tea?
Ooh, tea.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Best holiday destination?
Ooh, Noosa, I think.
If you were front cover of any magazine, what would it be?
Wheels.
If you could do a duet, who would it be with?
Chris Stapleton, no doubt.
Favorite meal to cook?
I'm not much of a cook. I'm going to say breakfast.
Okay. Last CD you listened to?
Oh, I haven't listened to a CD in a while. I did listen to Black Eyed Peas' Monkey Business, I think, about a couple of years ago.
Most adventurous thing you've done?
I think it's release an album, going from not playing guitar or even singing 7 years ago.
What world stage would you like to perform on?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. Maybe River Stage because it's close to home.
That's Benny Elder there. The Fast 10 in 60 seconds.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Benny. Look, it is an incredible album. You can listen to it over and over again, and it's a different journey every single time.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it really is. And look, you're all over socials, you're all over YouTube, streaming services, you're everywhere. You're certainly not hiding. And I think the listeners have just got to get out there and stream your album, buy your album, download your album, and spread the word for you.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. Well, That's been a great chat.
Yeah, it's great chatting to you as well, Matt.
Yeah, look, anytime, anytime. So we are done. I'll just wait for the guys next door to give me the clear that they've got it all.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Oh, I see. So you're still recording, or?
yeah. So we go through Zoom. So Zoom, we record on Zoom as a backup, but we also go through to the Zoom recorder in Studio too.
Ah, I see. Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes the quality is a bit better. Yeah, because we're here in the outback, telephone lines are not the best.
Yeah, I see. Whereabouts are you based, Matt?
So hey,
I don't know where that is. I'm sorry.
that's all right. It's the gateway to the outback. So it's the Riverina area. So yeah,
Ah, I see.
yeah.
Yep.
So I'm based between the border of Victoria and New South Wales.
That sounds like a nice spot. I've travelled through there through the New England. Is it off the New England Highway?
You
Or
can go that way, yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been.
I'm
I think
more
I'm.
Deniliquin side.
Ah, okay. Yep. Yep. I'm aware of that area. Beautiful.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So I do lots of driving.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do about usually 1,900, 2,000 Ks a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yep.
You're spending a bit on fuel and tires, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So have you done much interviews since your release?
I've done a few. Yeah. Yeah. It's great that it's getting a little bit of traction enough that people are interested enough to interview me. I'm very honoured.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I guess it's only been out less than a week.
Yeah. Last Friday,
Mm.
I've had a couple. I think I've had a few since then.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Yep, we are all clear, which is good. Time's running out on this anyway. Do you have a like a social pack that you have that we can use some images of to promote the interview?
I can send you some photos. Yeah, I don't have a. I mean, I've got plenty of stuff. I don't have a specific pack right at the moment, but
That's all right. So maybe the album cover
yeah, okay, yeah,
is a
maybe
good
like
thing.
in a live shot, maybe or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we can get that up there along with all your social handles.
Yeah,
And sometimes the listeners ring up and they want to know if they can purchase a CD or is it just a digital download?
it is just a digital download, but at the moment, but I
Yep.
am in the process of making CDs and vinyl as well, which I'll put on my website, which I've only just made, bennyelder.com. I hope to have CDs in the next few weeks. Vinyl will be a little bit longer, but yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
CDs by the end of March, I'd say.
Yeah, no worries. And I think the guys are telling me that this will go to air on Sunday,
Yeah. Okay.
Sunday
Cool.
afternoon. And
Awesome.
once they've put the schedule together for the weekend, I'll be able to shoot you through the time.
Cool.
Cool stuff. We're done. So thank you once again.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Matt. It was great to have a chat with you. I'll send those images to your email straight after this.
Yeah, too easy. Thanks, man. Have a good evening.
Cheers, mate. You too.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.